Hi, Algebra 1. Happy Monday. I hope you're having a good day. Last week, you learned about classifying and evaluating polynomials, whether it was a monomial, one term, binomial, two terms, trinomial, or more, right? Terms are separated by adding and subtracting, and you had to decide on the degree. I also want to kind of talk quickly about if you have terms that are not the same and what terms are the same. Essentially, all we're doing today, we're going to add and subtract polynomials. We're going to decide what terms are common to be able to put together. Okay, so let's look at the first one. We're going to combine our like terms. But before we do that, let's talk. This right here in parentheses. How many terms? If they are separated by adding and subtracting, put a line right through the adding and subtracting. There are 4 terms here. 4 terms. And what degree? So 4 terms means it's other, okay? That's not a trinomial. That would be 3. 4 more is just other. Polynomial. Poly means many. So my degree here, these are all just 1. So the degree of this is what? Did you say 1? Good. You take the largest number, right? So this is a polynomial with a degree of 1. Okay? This down here, it's also 4 terms. It's a polynomial with a degree of 1 also. Kind of boring. 6x squared plus 5y to the third power minus 6xy. What would this be? Draw a line through the x or the plus and the minus. You have 3 terms. That's a trinomial. And your largest degree is a 3. Like this is really a 1. So this is a degree of 3. Okay? All right. That was our super quick review. Let's get into today's lesson now. So go ahead in your notebook, go ahead and write this down. Pause when you need to. I'm going to be showing you 2 different ways to do this. The first way is going to be my not favorite way, and then I'll show you the other way. Okay, so the first way we could add and subtract these 2 polynomials is to do it vertically. We have to determine which are my like terms. Which ones go together, right? So I can't combine an A with a B. It's apples and oranges. And I can't combine this C with anything else. This is simplified already. But if I'm going to put this together with this, I've got some A's here that go together and the B's. So we're going to line them up. So we'll copy my first set of parentheses. And means, or I guess it says add here, to add. So I'm going to put a plus sign. And then I'm going to copy my second one down, but I'm going to line everything up. Now, when you write a polynomial, you need to have your letters in alphabetical order so that it should be pretty easy to line everything up. So when you rewrite your answers, put them in alphabetical order. So if you had like an x squared, my last one wasn't in alphabetical order, you would then put xy would be next, and then like your y squared, because this one has an x with it. I don't know if that makes sense there. So alphabetical order. Okay. That's not our main focus, so let's keep going. 2a. Now remember, a sign is owned by the term after it, or the term owns the sign before it. So this is 6c plus 9. All right, well then let's kind of combine these together. These are like terms. These are like terms. These are like terms, and these are like terms. 8 and 9 gives me 17, and it's a positive 17, so I'm going to keep that sign with it. Negative 8 and a positive 6 is a negative 2, and then keep the C with it. This is multiplication happening between there, but you don't know what C is. You can't do anything more than that. 2 and a negative 4 would give you negative 2b, and this 3 and a 2 gives you 5. So here is your answer. These are not hard, not too bad, just got to get them. Okay, what I want to show you is the way that I like to do it. And I'm going to go over it briefly, and we'll do a couple, I'll get to it in my next one. I'm going to try to make this video shorter. You're welcome. Okay, let's try another one the same way. We have 3 different things that we're putting together now, okay? Now, we have some terms that are like and some that are not. So it's going to be really important that we line everything up so that all of the terms that go together are aligned vertically. So let's write this out, but be careful. First one you can just write out. 2x squared plus 3xy plus 5y squared. Remember, terms are separated by adding and subtracting, so look at everything between adding and subtracting. All right, my next one here. 8x squared, I can put right underneath x squared, minus 5xy goes right underneath the xy, but I have plus 3. It's not a 3y, excuse me. It's not a y squared, so it doesn't go with this one at all. I'm going to just kind of write plus 3y way over here, kind of leave a blank. If you want to put plus 0y squared in, you can. You wouldn't have to do that. It would feel kind of funny, but technically there are 0 y squareds if you want to keep everything lined up that way. Okay, and this last third one, x squared, goes with x squareds. And then plus 2y squared, I'm just going to kind of leave this huge space in between. Again, you could put plus 0xy, plus 0y. All of those teal words, you don't have to have those at all. Okay, and we are adding these together. Okay, so let's put our terms together here a little bit. These all go together. These are like terms. These ones are like terms, and these ones are like terms. Notice I'm circling the symbol or the sign in front of it. So I just have 3y here. That's it. And it's a positive. All right, and I just have 7y squared here. It's also a positive. Notice I'm working from right to left, kind of backwards from what we usually do. Okay, and let's see, a negative 5 and a positive 3 gives me a negative 2xy. And this is technically a 1 here, okay? So don't just tell me 10. This is 11x squared. Okay, let me show you the other way that I like to do it. Can totally line it up. It's called the vertical way, but I like to do it horizontally. And I just look at what's like terms. You can do a little underline. You can... I like to actually circle them or use a different shape. So let me show you what I like to do. You can underline for sure. Sometimes it's harder to keep the sign that goes with it though. So I might do a circle around x squared. And then I might do a square around just your x's. Keep the sign that goes with it. And maybe a triangle around the last one, something like that, okay? So I'm going to put all of my circle ones together, all of my squares together, and all of my triangles together. Okay, it just helps to figure out your like terms. Okay, that can be tricky, so go back and do some review on that if you need. We are not going to cover that in this lesson. Okay, 11x squared, 3 plus that 8, right? And then 2 plus a negative 7. Remember, plus and negative gives me a negative 5x. And then I have a negative 5 and a negative 10 is negative 15. So my whole answer is 11x squared minus 5x minus 15. There are no more terms to combine, so that is it. Okay, same kind of thing as before, but just the other method. Okay, let's try another one with that other method just to practice. Okay, a squared. Are there any other a squareds? No, it's the only a squared. That's just going to kind of hang out by himself. Okay, I got an a. Oops, I got an ab. Do I have another a? Here's another ab. I have just a b. Let's do a rectangle here. Negative 12b and a negative 3b. And last but not least, I have a c squared and a c squared. Okay, is it okay that I have one guy that doesn't go with anything else? Of course it is. But you just have to be careful. I guess I didn't use very many shapes with this one. You can use shapes if you don't have colored pencils. Okay. A squared. And then my red ones are going to be a negative 7. Now remember, I already know it's going to be AB. You can already put that part. And a negative 7 and a... positive 8. So that just gives me a 1, right? Now, do you have to have the 1 there? Make sure you have a plus sign. These are separate terms, so they need to be joined by addition or subtraction. So even if it's positive, put a plus sign. Unless it's the first one, you wouldn't have to have that one. So I'm just going to leave that as AB when I rewrite it. But for right now, let's look at the yellow ones. I've got a negative 12b and a negative 3b. So negative 15b, I already know this is going to be c squared. 12 and 3 is 15, and a positive sign. So my full answer here would be 15a squared plus ab minus 15b plus 15c squared. And see how I start from a to c alphabetically. Okay, so here's my answer. All right, now these are our last two examples, and we are going to be done. You can try some out later this week. I don't know how much you guys are watching the videos. I hope they're a little bit helpful. I know the guy is not very visual, so if you're a visual person, it's hard to understand. But tomorrow's lesson, he is going to do the manipulative part of the lesson, which I won't be able to do for you in class. So he's going to use algebra tiles, and there's a link for using the algebra tiles. I would really encourage you to watch at least that part of his video because it's really helpful to understand. So, okay, that's my plug for that. Now, what is different here than our other problems? Yeah, we're subtracting instead of adding. In the past, we've just been adding. So really, this is like the same thing as a negative. Let's say you had this, or even just like a 5 minus 5x plus 2. What did we have to do? Do you remember? This was like a negative 1, like I had up here. You have to distribute that. What's really, that negative sign is being given to everything inside the parentheses. Now, if there aren't parentheses, you don't have to apply that. But when there's parentheses, you have to distribute that negative all the way through. Okay, so let's make sure that we're doing that. That's going to be a big room for error and one of the easiest things to accidentally forget. So I will show you one of the, I think we're going to do a couple examples like this. Show you one vertically and one horizontally. I don't care which way you guys do them. But we are going to rewrite this first, distributing that negative. 3x squared plus 2x minus 5. Now this is a positive 4x squared here. I'm going to make it a negative 4x squared. And this is a negative 5x, but I distributed in a negative, so it's the opposite of that. So it's a positive 5x and minus 2. Okay, now let's do, I've got an x squared. We're going to combine our like terms, and maybe one of you noticed I forgot my squared there. I got an x squared. I've got just an x. Remember, keep the sign that's in front. And these are just my constants. Okay, so now I have these two to put together. I have these two to put together. They actually all have a buddy. They don't have to have buddies, but these guys do. Okay, so now I'm just going to get a negative 1x squared. Do you have to put the negative 1? No, but you do have to have the negative. So you could write it as just negative x squared. And this is going to be plus 7x and minus 7. Okay, so there is your full answer. Alrighty, two more. Hang in there with me. Let's do this one vertically. Are they already lined up? That's the question. Are these like terms? Yes, they are. Are these like terms? They're just C. Yep, they are. Are these guys like terms? Just B. Yes, they are. Make sure that negative goes with the 7, and these guys are like terms. Okay, now, before we do this, I like to go through and actually change. I'm going to use a different color. Let's do that. It might show it better. I'm going to distribute this negative all the way through. So you can go through and make this a negative, make this a negative, turn this into a positive, and turn this into a positive. Just change whatever sign it was. And then you can go right down through. And you've already used that up, okay? Used it up because you applied you made it addition in a way, because you applied the negative all the way through. So now I have a 10 plus 9 instead of minus, so that gives me 19. I have a 6 plus 8, which is a little bit different than before. It was on negative, so this gives me a positive 14c. Oh, I should have put the plus sign here. All right. So put the plus sign in front. Now I have a negative 7b. Get that blue back. There we go. Negative 7b and a negative 4b. So I have two negatives being added together. So you add them and keep the negative sign. And then these I have opposite signs, a 5 and a negative 3. So I'm going to subtract them. Okay? So here is your final answer. How'd you do? All right, try this last one on your own. I don't care which way you do it. I showed you one that was with symbols, and I showed you one that was vertical. Try this one on your own. pause the video and come back and we'll try this together, okay? All right, I'm going to run through this pretty quickly since we've done a lot of examples and you've already done this on your own. So check yours with me. Okay, now I'm distributing this negative symbol to all of these. So I'm just going to go through and change the sign. Make this a -5. I'm going to make this, it was negative, make it positive, and I'm going to make this a -4. Okay? Alrighty, let's see. Let's put some, now this is the way I like to do it. You can do it vertically if you like that XY. Are there any other XYs? There sure are. And here's a y squared. Now make sure you get this like little negative symbol with it too. Okay, 4x squared minus 5x gives me a -x squared. Watch the coordinate. Careful. 3xy plus an 8xy. Okay, so I'm just going to add those two together. Gives me 11xy. And now I'm going to have a -y squared and a -4y squared. So it gives me a -5y squared. And there is your answer. How'd you do?
Mommy.
Okay, well, let me know if you have any questions. I hope this helps a little bit. Enjoy your videos later this week. I'll try to get a couple out for you in the next couple weeks as well. All right, miss you guys. Bye. Say bye, Jet.
Bye.
Magnolia, do you want to say bye also?
Bye. Yeah.